Circulatory system, a lesson output in Biology 2. Number 1. Draw a blood vessel network from the heart and back to it and arrange the different blood vessels in terms of decreasing blood pressure, with 10 having the highest blood pressure and 1 having the lowest. Explain why there are vessels having relatively lower pressure and higher volume. So, mo ni siyang blood vessel network from the heart and back. Then, ako ni siyang i-arrange from the highest blood pressure to the lowest. Number 10. Number 10 is the aorta. Number 9 is the systemic artery. Number 8 is the pulmonary artery. Number 7 is the arteriole. Number 6, systematic capillary. Number 5, pulmonary capillary. Number 4, venules. Number 3, veins. Number 2, superior vena cava. And number 1, inferior vena cava. Then, i-explain ako why there are vessels having relatively lower pressure and higher volume. So, blood flow refers to the movement of blood through a vessel, tissue, or organ, and is usually expressed in terms of volume of blood per unit of time. It is initiated by the contraction of the ventricles of the heart. Ventricular contraction ejects blood into the major arteries, resulting in flow from regions of higher pressure to regions of lower pressure as blood encounters smaller arteries and arterioles. Then capillaries, then the venules and veins of the venous system. This section discusses a number of critical variables that contribute to blood flow throughout the body. It also discusses the factors that impede or slow blood flow, a phenomenon known as resistance. Using the explanation about the equation P equals to Q times R, explain the relationship between blood pressure and the factors affecting, namely heart rate, blood volume, and blood vessel diameter. Blood flow is determined by the pressure difference and the resistance of the vessel. Pressure difference is the driving force for blood flow, and resistance is impediment to flow. The relationship of flow Q, resistance R, and pressure difference delta P is expressed by Ohm's law. Q is equals to delta P over R. The magnitude of blood flow is directly proportional to the pressure difference. The direction of blood flow is determined by the direction of the pressure gradient from high to low pressure. Blood flow is inversely proportional to resistance, and a change in resistance is the major mechanism for changing blood flow, particularly in arterioles. Resistance can either be measured for the entire systemic vascular system, called total peripheral resistance, or measured in a single organ. 3. Explain what roles the following hormones play in blood pressure regulation by completing the table below. For hormone angiotensin, yung source kay the kidney, ang liver. Then ang receptors niya kay ang angiotensin receptors. Ang effector organ niya kay kidneys and adrenal glands. Yung function kay vasoconstriction, or regulates blood pressure and narrowing of blood vessels. Factors affected blood pressure and the effect kay higher blood pressure, blood volume, and sodium content. And for hormone aldosterone, the source kay adrenal glands, yung receptors kay mineralocorticoid receptors, yung effector organ kay kidneys and colon. Function water reabsorption along with sodium. Factors affected blood volume, blood pressure, affect increased blood pressure. For hormone epinephrine, source niya kay adrenal glands gyapon. Receptors kay alpha and beta receptors. Effector organ muscle and blood vessels. Function increase in heart rate, muscle strength, blood pressure, and sugar metabolism. Factors affected blood pressure, affect flight or fight response. Lastly, atrial natriuretic peptide, yung source kay myocytes of the heart atria. Receptors atrial volume receptors. Effector organ adrenal glands. Function lower blood pressure and to control electrolyte homeostasis. Factors affected blood volume, affect lower blood pressure. Number 4. Why is blood pressure regulation important? What are the implications of lower or higher than normal pressure? blood pressure regulation is important because the higher your blood pressure is, the higher your risk of health problems in the future. What are the implications of lower or higher than normal pressure? A blood pressure reading of lower than 90 millimeters of mercury for the top number or 60 mmHg for the bottom number is generally considered low blood pressure. And if your blood pressure readings are consistently 140/90 or higher over a number of weeks, you may also have high blood pressure if just one of the numbers is higher than it should be over a number of weeks. If you have high blood pressure, this higher pressure puts extra strain on your heart and blood vessels. Over time, this extra strain increases your risk of a heart attack or stroke.